My name is CJ, and I run a mixing and mastering studio specifically for heavy metal bands called All Wine Audio Engineering. And this video series is all about giving local and regional level progressive metal bands a place to have their band and their music reviewed. Now, this isn't about me being brutally honest. It's about me giving actual constructive feedback to a genre that kind of gets overlooked by the other mainstream reviewers. The main point here is to give smaller progressive metal bands real insight into what it looks like to see their band from the outside, but coming from a person who actually understands their genre deeply. This is valuable information that could really help a smaller band be more successful in their future. So why am I doing this in the first place? Well, number one, I love progressive metal music. Pretty much every Sunday for the last couple of months, I've been spending time just finding new bands to listen to, mainly so that I can find new clients, but also to find things that inspire me. And I really thought that it would just be more fun to share that experience with other people. Number two, I kind of hate how redundant mainstream music is. I don't really care about trends. I don't care about what plugins you're using or what band you think you sound like. I want to hear innovative ideas. I want to hear original ideas. And I tend to hear those types of things more from smaller bands. Number three, I've been playing progressive metal for the last 13 years or so. It's really the main thing that I listen to. So I have a lot of expertise when it comes to this genre, and I feel like I could offer real advice that could help people. And lastly, I know I already said that I run a mixing and mastering studio, but what I didn't tell you is that I live in a really small town. We have 3 stoplights here. There's just not a lot of people, and there's not a lot of bands or musicians. So if I want to find work, if I want to find interesting music to work on, I have to reach out to people. And I feel like this is a great opportunity for me to reach my ideal clients all over the world, while also still offering them value. Now, before we jump in, here's how this is going to work. I'm going to find about 5 or so bands every Sunday to review from my Facebook profile. More on that in just a second. First thing I'm going to do is give a brief impression of the band's social media presence, what their artwork looks like, and how many clicks it takes to actually get to their music. Next, I'm going to review their most accessible song. Whatever pops up on YouTube, we're going to listen to that, and I'm going to critique it based on mainly song structure, how things flow from one part to the next, how the mix sounds, and what kind of emotional appeal the music has. And lastly, if I really love the song, I'm going to add it to my local, regional progressive metal playlist, and you can find the link to that in the description. Now, if you want me to review your band, then just add me on Facebook, and you'll see me posting every week looking for bands to review. Just leave a tag for your band on any one of those posts, and I'll add you to the list. Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Prog Metal Reviews. We are going to pick up where we left off last time with a submission from Derek Wilkerson. I already copied the link over, so the band is Sunborn. Let's see if I can get their Facebook page really quick. Sunborn. There we go. Alt rock / modern metal. Okay. So maybe this won't be as progressive as some of the other bands we've listened to. Obviously got their social medias, Spotify up here. Some cool photography, some cool pictures from their shows. I really like the contrast there, the white on black. That looks really cool. Okay, so they get heavy. Really cool imagery here, man. Submerge. Cool, cool. We're just gonna hop over to the YouTube link that was sent. It would be nice to see a link tree here, just because not everybody's a Spotify user. Like I don't have a Spotify account, so if I want to listen to these guys' music, I'm gonna have to find it on YouTube. So something to keep in mind. So here we've got the song Nebula, submitted by Derek. Let's check this out. That was fucking cool, man. Going into that, I was kind of expecting something like a little bland in comparison to some of the really cool bands we've had in the first few episodes. But I was really surprised. I thought, like, really cool use of auto-tune on the vocals. You don't really hear, like, the blatant auto-tune in modern metal very often. Nothing that comes to mind, at least for me. and that intro had some of that like deliberate auto-tune on the vocals, and then you heard it again there at the end of the song where things were just super epic. It caught me off guard there about 2/3 through the song. I thought it was over when it started raining, and then they just came in with just this really nasty breakdown, I guess you would call it, and then they added that ambience back in. That was so unexpected, but so awesome in this song. I'm glad that they went there because like the songwriting structure on this is very I don't want to say mainstream, but like the transitions were predictable in a good way. Like I could tell where the song was going as each part developed. You know, there was a pretty obvious chorus there. So the songwriting structure is like really well thought out. Like these guys definitely know what they're doing. Um, and really cool use of like just the heavy as fuck palm mutes there in this like heavy section at the end of the song. I just think it was a really, really good mix of like modern, straightforward songwriting with a little bit of like prog influence in there to spice things up a little bit. The singer is incredible. And I kind of like the masked thing that they have going on too. I've been kind of liking that more and more lately. That's just a personal preference thing. But one last thought too is the drummer did a great job of keeping the song interesting without overplaying. And that's like, at least for this song, I don't know if this is like what they do all the time, but at least for this song, the drumming was perfect, man. He knew when to stick out and do those upbeat, like it sounded like a stack or maybe like a really dry sounding china. There were those couple of moments where the drums kicked in on the upbeat there, and that was just so cool. Added a nice rhythmic element to a song that's otherwise very straightforward. So I loved everything about this. This was really cool. Add them to the playlist, and I got to give these guys a follow as well. So let's move on over to the next band here. I'm going to do Crossing the Rubicon next. I have listened to these guys a couple times in the past, so I'm a little familiar with what they do. And you can see there for fans of some pretty eclectic tastes up here, right? Pliny, Owain, Jacob Zaiteki, all very like virtuoso type players or projects. From Ohio, we've got a link tree, perfect, love to see it. And this looks like it may be a website. We'll check that out in a second. And EPK, right on the front. I haven't seen that yet at all. That's awesome. You know, if you're looking to like play festivals or do like even certain tours, like even regional level tours and stuff, a lot of times we'll ask for an EPK. And if you could make that really easy for like the manager of that tour or that festival to find your EPK, that's always great. So I hope to see more of that in bands going forward. That's really cool. Let's see, we've got some cool imagery here, probably like album artwork or like single artwork. Looks like either a review of some sort from the Circle Pit. So that's pretty cool. We got a live performance. Audio quality is not great there. We're gonna listen to the real stuff. I want to look at this really quick, actually. Dropbox link to an EPK. Sweet picture of the band on top. Instrumental progressive metal. Biography. I'm not going to read everything. You guys can pause if you want to check that out. Talking about lineup changes, who the band members are, what the band's direction looks like, most recent releases. Very cool. Some details about like what the sound is, who produced. Yep. Very cool, man. Yeah, again, I hope to see more of this from other bands. Let's check out this link. Oh, it's an email. Gotcha. Live.com's an email. Okay. I wonder if did he give me a link to anything? No, no specific song. So I think we're just gonna go for what's right here on the link tree. There we go. All right, Crossing the Rubicon Spirals. Um, I wish I had like a running script next to the video of like what my thoughts are while the song is playing. I may have to find another way to like put down markers or take notes or something because especially with this song, I found myself like, man, it'd be really, really cool if they did this, and then they did it. And that happened to me like 3 or 4 times throughout the song. Um, I like that a lot of the guitar riffs, like in between the choruses and stuff, they would play something kind of simple and then work it up into something a little more complicated. They had that like banana, 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 where like the guitar and the bass player and the saxophone player were kind of playing the same phrase over and over again. And I thought to myself, man, it'd be really cool if they threw some chugs in between those little phrases. And then after like the fourth repetition, they did it all over again with the ticka ticka da na na ticka ticka da na na, and that just threw me, man. I was like, that's exactly what I was thinking. Um, Sometimes less is more. Like having the listener, me, sitting here going, man, if they develop this idea even further, that's going to be sweet. Whereas if they just opened up with the developed version of that idea right off the bat, it wouldn't have like left me wanting, right? So I like how they worked into some of the more complicated parts. Also, I don't think that they have like a permanent saxophone player. I could be wrong, but that was really cool, man. Like using the saxophone player like he's the vocalist is kind of how that felt to me. Like when the chorus came back around and the saxophone player played the same line again, there may have been a little variation in there. But like it just really felt like there was a singer there. Like saxophone, number one, is very expressive anyway, very similar to guitar in that sense, where it can sound very vocal if you want it to. So I'm a huge fan of saxophone in anything. But to see it executed so well here, again, kind of like the previous band, where the saxophone player, he didn't overplay. He played his part and he did what he needed to do to be the vocalist. And then, you know, obviously had a couple moments where he did like some more solo-y type stuff, and so did the guitar player. So there's obviously a great balance of, okay, who's going to have the spotlight? And then when the next part comes up, okay, who has the spotlight next? So obviously that was thought about. This mix is really, really good in the sense that it facilitates the same thing I just said, where when it's somebody's turn to shine, I can tell that that's being accomplished through the mixing to some degree. Where like, okay, the guitars quiet down a little bit so the saxophone can come forward. But that's only achievable, and I can say this as a mix engineer, you can only achieve that type of separation and like focus when it's thought about when the band is writing, because you have to write these parts so that nobody's stepping over each other, you know? Like if the saxophone is going to be in this register up here, then you probably want the guitars underneath it or above it, and you want the bass below that, you want the kick drum below that. So thinking about the mix while you're writing goes a long way. And I could be wrong, like maybe a lot of this stuff was thought of after the fact, but it really sounds to me like this song was thought out, that the people involved were thinking about the mix while they were writing the song and trying to layer things together in a way that would make mixing easy. So just have nothing but good things to say about this band. I love the jazz sounding elements. I love that they get heavy. Maybe not as heavy as like a Thal band or like a gent band specifically. But for an instrumental band, I love that they have heavy moments, they have clean moments. They know when to make certain players in the band shine. So it's just a really well done instrumental band. So just another great submission. Oh, crap, hold on. Let's go back to that really quick. There we go. This is going on the playlist, 100%. Let's see. And then we need... See, already following, cool. So let's check out Pathogenic. I'm immediately expecting this to be incredibly heavy. I mean, let's look at the artwork. I'm expecting like black metal, just something really over the top, crazy vocals. At least that's my first impression without listening to anything yet. Um, Looks like they are currently on, or about to start a pretty substantial tour, so that's really cool. Let's see, what's this? Oh wow, that's really cool. I really hope that that's the band producing that audio. That's really cool. That's an incredibly cool way to do a show flyer. That's okay. We'll get a good. Okay, that's much better audio there on that live video. That might be dubbed with recorded audio, but yeah, definitely got the kind of Job for a Cowboy vibe going on. So let's check out their link tree. Cool, I like how this is set up. Guitar playthrough. I might just have to go for that. I'm a sucker for a good guitar playthrough.
Spill the blood of your enemies. Draw it, drop by drop. Forming thoughts, peaceless, never
RIP to your forearms, buddy. Oh my god. That was so, what's the word? Energetic. Like, it got me super hype. This would be incredible to see live, for sure. I loved that, like, it wasn't lo-fi, but maybe like a low gain that or whatever that they were doing, like kind of off to the side in between parts. Like that just kept getting me like re-amped to hear the next iteration of the riff. Some really good use of like what I would call riff salad in this song, where it's just like riff after riff after riff after riff, and then like maybe 4, 5, 6 sections later, you get something familiar again. And they did that, they pulled that off really, really well here because there was a lot of, I don't know if they were necessarily time signature changes or what. Some of it I think was just tempo change, but I feel like at least 5 or 6 times I heard either the tempo or the time signature change, and they did it in a way that like kept me locked in. So I really appreciate when a band can do that, when they can go, okay, we're gonna flip-flop between a bunch of ideas that aren't like in the same tempo, that aren't on the same exact grid, but we're gonna lead you to those parts with like a cool fill or like a transition of some kind that kind of hints to you what's coming next, so you're not completely caught off guard. They did that really, really well, and I love the video. I love like all the close-up shots. The riffing was just really cool, and the vocalist, I can't say I was listening to him intently. Knowing that it was a guitar playthrough, though, I was trying to kind of pay some attention to the vocals and not just at what's visually in front of me. And I like the texture and the intensity that the vocalist adds. I didn't really hear like a lot of vocal Olympic stuff. I just heard a vocalist trying to decide like when should there be vocals and when shouldn't there be vocals. Like when should I come in, when should I come out. So I like that he wasn't just like putting words all over the song. There was like some breathing room, right? There was some times where the vocalist knew when to stop and let the guitars be the focus, even if that's just for a transition or like a short piece. So overall, just great songwriting again. Definitely happy to have these guys on the playlist. So let's hit the right button here. Cool. You know, I'm not usually like much of a black metal fan. Like I saw you had the Black Dahlia Murder shirt on, so that's obviously a pretty strong influence for these guys. Like I couldn't name one Black Dahlia song for you, to be honest. And I'm not usually into that style of like vocals or even really guitar playing. But I feel like these guys, they had more of that influence than some of the other bands we've listened to. But they did it in a way that even I like. The band was tight. Like it wasn't messy. It wasn't... a lot of the qualities of black metal, the reasons why I don't like it as much, are just because it's usually noisier, the mix is usually not as good, the vocals are usually like completely unintelligible. So I like that these guys had like maybe a middle ground between like taking that to the extreme and having a more modern sound. So yeah, just overall awesome band. Not exactly what I expected, but in a really good way. So thank you guys for the submission. We've got time for a couple more. Let's check out Ephemeral. Let's see, from Phoenix, Arizona. Linktree, seems like people are really a fan of Linktree. They do make putting everything in one spot really easy. Featured videos right here at the top, that's wonderful. I'm still going to... Number one, I want to see if they have something a bit newer than that. What is this? Okay, I'm glad they have a sense of humor. That's wonderful. I always love it when a band can like find a way to let some of the character of their members show through. Whether that's through these little clips or through memes or music videos or whatever it might be. Like, obviously these guys have a bit of a goofy side and they're not afraid to show it. Looks like they just played with Volumes, Notions, and Cat's Claw. That's killer, man. I bet that was super fun. Got some great shots of the show. Yep. That's really cool. So I definitely have some high expectations if you guys are playing with some big artists like that. Let's hit up the link tree. Volume show. Cool. Yeah, right at the top of your link tree. Wonderful. Let's see, though. I think I'm going to go for this as long as it's not super old. Let's pull it up on YouTube. 2 years. I wonder if they have something a little newer than that. I would imagine you have your newest release up here at the top, right? Okay. Yeah, 2023. Okay, cool. So we're just going to go back to that song then. Let's check it out. The Ephemeral Pineapple King.
Using all my
Man, I didn't want that to end. Um, that was interesting from start to finish. I mean, I didn't react a whole lot, like visibly, I feel like, through that song, mostly because I was like digesting the whole time. This doesn't sound like anything I'm familiar with. So right off the bat, I think that's super cool. Like, if you listened to the intro of any of these episodes, the one of the big things I'm listening for is novelty. There's so many plugins out there, and there's so many like amp sims and just all kinds of ways for everybody to sound exactly the same, whether that be drum samples or guitar IRs or whatever. And this just comes across as very unique to me. And I'm still blown away by the creativity of just bands in general, because I've never really been a local band person. I've always just like, I usually have like 5 or 6 bands that I listen to all the time, and they're usually the big guys, right? Like Monuments, Meshuggah, After the Burial, Viljarta, Humanity's Last Breath. Like, I'm usually listening to a lot of that stuff. And it doesn't leave a whole lot of room, or at least it hadn't up until now, for local bands, because you always have to sift through and find what you like. But I know, like, if Monuments drops a single, I'm probably going to like it, so I'm going to listen to it. So through doing this series, I know it's only episode 4, but I'm just continually blown away by the creativity of some of these smaller bands. And it really goes to show you that there's gold out there, and I feel like this is one of them. I mean, 400 subscribers, that should be 10 or 100 times that, in my opinion. This is really cool. I really liked, right at the beginning of the song, number one, a little bit of humor goes a long way. You made me laugh right in the first 5 seconds of the video, which I love. And this guy, you guys have 2 singers, right? The singing right at the beginning of this song, I really liked. I liked the clarity of it. I liked just how intimate it felt, without being like whiny. Like, he's a manly singer. But I kind of just get, not just from the singing, but from the whole song, and probably from whatever EP or album this comes from, it's just got a very nostalgic vibe, which is crazy, having come out in 2023. I can't pin down exactly why, but there's something nostalgic about the way this band sounds. Overall, I'm kind of having a hard time like giving specific things that I liked about the song, because it really was so interesting from start to finish. It was never boring. You guys changed it up quite a bit. And you kept things like melodically, it was very interesting. And I was able to, I feel like I heard the lyrics really well, which is something like that is easy to complain about in heavier genres. Like, even when you guys were doing scream vocals, I feel like I caught most of the words. And if I just listened to this 2 or 3 more times, I feel like I could probably sing along with some of the parts. So it's catchy, it's heavy, but none of it feels contrived. And what I mean by that is, it doesn't seem like you guys are trying to do something for the sake of doing something. This feels like a very genuine project, like you guys are just creating music that you love. And that's probably true of all the bands that we've listened to, but for whatever reason, it really comes through in this song. And I'm really glad I got to listen to it. Definitely a band I'm going to have to listen to more, because, I mean, if this is any indication of what you guys do as a whole, then I'm stoked on this. So, yeah, man, let's do one more. The Fallen Prophets, death metal band from South Africa. So this could be very different. Okay. Cool. We got the Broken Sticks logo, always a good one. Okay, we got all the links. No link tree, but pretty much everything I would want is sitting right here. Oh boy, okay. Looks like they just recently hit 1 million streams on something. Perpetual Damnation. was just a few days ago. So working on some new material, guys. Cool. Let's check out the YouTube. Let's see here. 2 weeks ago, official video. We're doing it. Okay. I have lots to say about that. Number one, shock factor for sure. And I'm not usually someone who's into shock factor, like gory, bloody type stuff. But I know that it's like especially for these like black metal or like extreme metal genres, that's pretty normal. So I'm gonna like not be super judgmental there. I know that that's some people are into that, and obviously this is telling a story about drug use. And while I didn't catch every lyric, it was really evident from the video. And I will say I thought that it was really cool. Hold on, let me go back. I thought it was really cool that they started the video with the end of the video. And so at first I'm kind of like, oh, how the hell did we get here? And then we get to watch the video and we get to watch how the story plays out. And then at the end you kind of get that, you get that closure, right? Where you go, oh, that question I had at the beginning is now answered. So that was really cool. A lot of thought that went into that. I also thought that there was a change up right over around here. Right there, man. Because we're 4.5 minutes into the song, and the song has had the same tempo the whole time. Like there's some halftime, there's some double time stuff going on to kind of spice it up a little bit. But this is the first point in the song where it actually breaks away and they do something different. And it was perfect timing, man. Because I feel like you were getting right about to that point where I was about to be like, okay, what else do you have to offer? And then boom, you do this little change up, you got some sweet picking going on. Yeah, with the double kicks going, that's a fucking killer outro, guys. Just overall, again, not normally in my style, but as far as like this subgenre of metal goes, I really like what these guys are doing. I really love the bass too. I like how at the beginning you have like this clean bass tone. He's not like ripping it up or doing anything crazy. He's just setting the scene. And you get to hear this like warm, almost fretless bass sounding tone throughout the song. So I really like the bass tone. I like the change up there at the end of the song where the guitar players get to kind of shred it up a little bit. And again, kind of similar to the last band where I didn't hear every word that the vocalist said, but in the moments where it was just vocals, I could tell what he was going for. Like I could tell what the words were, and I really don't think it would take more than a few listens, maybe a glance at the lyrics, and I could be singing along to this. So that says a lot, especially for the genre that we're in. But another great band. I can't complain at all, man. And you guys have lineup here. Definitely would be good to see lyrics a little more often. I don't mean to just pick on you guys in particular, but we're in the metal genre, man, and it's not always really easy to tell what's going on with the words. And for the story that this video is telling, it'd be nice to have the lyrics alongside of it without having to go look it up on a separate webpage. But I don't want to end on a kind of sour note there. This is another great submission. I'm glad I got to listen to you guys. Definitely playlist material. So let's give these guys a follow as well. That wraps it up for today. Next week, we'll continue moving forward with the remaining submissions that I have here on this post. And then I'll probably start a new one, and we'll keep this ball rolling as often as possible. So thanks again for all the killer bands, and I'll see you guys next time.